Um, Actually, I'd like to share my screen.
Yes. Right.
Okay.
Yes.
Anyone, can you see my screen right now?
Yes. Yes. IELTS classroom tips.
Yeah.
They could be very helpful for Lexica, right?
Okay, so today I'd like to share with you guys some tips that you can apply when teaching IELTS class. Actually, you can apply this one not only in IELTS classroom, but also some English classroom as well. My name is Linta. Okay, you can call me by that name. Okay, so in here we have 6 points or 6 tips that you can use on a daily basis. So let's move on to the very first one. Use communicative activity. I know that everyone in here knows about communication language teaching. I will call it CLT, right?
Yep.
CLT is focused on the ability of student that the student can communicate with speakers from English-speaking countries and in Vietnam right now. Vietnamese education focus on CLT at schools. So we can use this one in our classroom, yes or no? Of course, yes, but it takes a lot of time. And one of the most biggest disadvantages of, of CLT is focus on fluency rather than grammar. But in IELTS test, we have grammatical range and accuracy in 4 criteria. So, um, so in order to use CLT in an effective ways, you can use communicative activities. As long as this activity clearly link back to the test. Okay. Can you hear me clearly, everyone?
Yes, yes.
Okay. For example, you can use debate. Okay. Don't get me wrong. You can use, when I mention debate, a lot of people will think about an event that long for 10 or 15 minutes, or it is quite hard to behold. But for example, but you can use informal debates. I have a tendency to use informal debates in writing skill. Like students have to talk about 2 aspects of a topic. For example, the environment. So I divided into 2 teams, A and B. And team A is talking about the advantages. Team B is talking about disadvantages. Then they share ideas together. And maybe it just take me 5 to 10 minutes for student and come up with ideas. By using informal debates like this, students can generate ideas and opinion on different topics. So they could, they might have ability to deliver a thoughtful and, well-prepared answers, especially in writing and speaking skill. That is communicative activities, but you have to bear in your mind that these activities have to link back to the test. Like after using debates, I have to say with my student that using debate you can use in writing and speaking. You have to remind students about the advantages of debates in IELTS test. When students say, it's very, teacher is very important and helpful, I will use it. Okay, so you can use communicative activities. That is the very first point. Let's move on to the next one. Use practice tests in the classroom. Yeah. It is clearly that practice tests can be held in the classroom. It is very important because they help students develop their skill and approach to the test. But bear in mind, they are not a tool that helps students improve their scores. For example, back in the day when I was a student at my high school, I did 100 of IELTS tests, Like every day I do reading and listening tests because my score at that time is only six. But I asked my teachers, I do 20 listening tests per week, but why my score wasn't improved? What's wrong? What the problem? At that time, I didn't realize the fact that practice test doesn't mean that I can improve my scores. Okay, the student have to have to identify the techniques. What is the problems with the techniques and approach to the test? Okay, so it is not belong to the quantity of the test, the numbers of the test. It is the quality. It is the skill, the techniques that students do when they deal with the test. So as the teachers, you guys can focus on student techniques and skill development in order to help students identify the reason why these answers of them went wrong. They can do that. Okay. So it is too fast, everyone. So I can slow down my pace.
It's okay for us.
Okay. Now let's move on to the next one is know what examiners are looking for. So I think as our teachers, we have already know about band descriptors, right? Of writing and speaking skill. And we also know about 4 criteria. But the problem is students also have to know about this one. So by knowing how to produce answers in the way that examiners are looking for, they can gain better and higher score in IELTS test. For example, just yesterday, I had a writing lesson with my IELTS level 1. They write a long essay, and the word count is it is over 250 words. It is clearly that I can see, but the problem is the grammar is wrong. They write some phrase, not clause. So at that time, I asked about them about the 4 types of sentences. At that time, they know about a simple sentence, compound sentence, complex sentence, compound complex sentence. When they know about this one, they know that they can improve that grammar score. If just write down some phrase or term, it is not true in terms of grammatical range and accuracy. At the very first time, student asked me, teachers, can I get overall 5 for this essay? I said, no. Your grammar is just, your grammars have something wrong in here. You have to improve this one. You have to fix this one. Okay, so as a teacher, I always share about the 4 criteria, as you can see in here, with my student at the very first lesson. Even with face-to-face class or one-on-one lesson, I always show and explain this one with my student so they can understand about how the examiner can give their score. Okay, so they can tailor the answers in order to achieve the score. Okay, that is about number 3. Let's move on to the next one. Number 4, manage mixed ability classes. Mixed ability classes is totally, an important problems right now. It is this problem exists in every English classes in Vietnam. But that is one thing that you can do with this one is you differentiation. You have to know the aim of student, that the purpose of student when they come to IELTS class. You have to identify the student. Which one is stronger, which one is weaker, the field that they are good at or not good at. By knowing the student, I know that it takes a lot of time. It will take time, but good thing takes time, right? So by knowing the student, teachers can tailor the activity to different students. You can see at the example I can show in here, like when it's come to foundation, at Unit 5, they learn about food. For beginner student, I will show a picture for them, and they have to list all ingredient in this picture. And then they will write some phrase, just phrase, or some simple sentence to describe how to make the dish. But for the better student, I mean intermediate student, they have to read a short paragraph. I will show them later. And after reading, they have to write a short paragraph describing a popular dish. But for advanced student, it will take a lot of time, you guys. You will find some articles, short articles, or news paper for them to read. Okay, maybe the topic can be about the food culture, the food insecurity. So they have to analyze the text, analyze on the Bloom taxonomy, right? Yeah, they have to analyze the role of the food in culture. And after that, they have to present in front of the class. This is the techniques that I use when I teach reading and writing. Many people will ask me that why I use presentation for writing lesson. It is okay. Do you learn about PPP, right? The product of P, the product of writing is speaking. So we can use presentation when you're teaching writing. It is okay. When students can speak, it means they can write. They are both productive skill. That is about mixed ability classes. So in order to run a mixed ability class smoothly, you have to, as a teacher, you have to prepare a lot at home. So maybe you can use flipped class. You could deliver the articles, newspaper, or passages for students to read at home. And this one, they have to do at home. At the lesson, we just have 2 hours. So when they are on board, they just present, they just write. Okay, and as a teacher, I will, walking around and check my students' work. That is about ability classes. Let's move on to the next one, is link classroom activity to the test. Well, actually, it is quite similar to the very first point that I showed you guys. But you can use this one at the end of the class. After teaching some skills or techniques or the knowledge, vocabulary, or something like that, or grammar, you can ask students to think about how you guys can use this knowledge to the part of the test. For example, at the very first, just some days ago, I taught my student about critical thinking. And I asked them how to use critical thinking in which skill of the test. Okay, so they can think about writing and speaking skill. And I hope that by learning critical thinking, they can deliver a thoughtful and wonderful answers in writing and speaking skill. Let's move on to the last one, boost student motivation. I am a big fan of motivation since I was a student at my university.
Yeah.
Because I can see the importance of motivation. In here, you can use a point system. Actually, I started using this one yesterday with my online class, and it's changed a lot. At the very first 5 minutes, I tell my student, okay, so from now on, when you answer my question, you can have 1 point. And after midterm test, the one who have highest point and who have highest score in the test will receive gift. My student raised the hand during 2 hours. I can call anyone. They just raise their hand. They just speak. I just sit there and okay, listen and give feedback to the answers. It's wonderful. It works for any students, everyone. For kindergarten, you can use sticker. Kindergarten student, primary school student, they can use sticker. From a teenager or university, you can use points. Okay. Back in the time when I was a student of my university, my lecturer used this one. And we love that because we know that we have more points for our score. So it works, everyone. And when you can boost student extrinsic motivation, in the long run, this motivation can become intrinsic motivation. I believe when a student have intrinsic motivation, they can boost themselves in learning progress. Teacher at that time just a facilitator, just a coach to sit there and watch their student, shine. That is. So there are 6 tips that you can use in IELTS classroom. And do you have any questions for